on hips, feet in cowboy boots planted wide, the stance of a man who owned this place. At length, his gaze dropped back to me. "You looking for a job?" "Sure am." "Then you want to be Jack." He took the cap off, revealing light brown hair thinning at the front. He scratched his scalp, settled the cap again, and lifted his chin to peer at me. "You 18? 19. I knew I didn't look it. It used to drive Laurel nuts that when I passed, she was often mistaken for my older sister rather than my girlfriend. "The day I'm mistaken for your mother, this relationship is over," she had joked. But other causes had intervened. The man scanned the station again, but it seemed like nothing better had presented itself. "I run a dude ranch outside of town. Season starts tomorrow, and I need one more guy on staff. Work in the kitchen, do some maintenance. That was supposed to be Jack, and he was supposed to be here yesterday. But you're here now, and you look clean cut. You want the job?" I thought of stories I'd heard passed around the dorms at Harvard, people who thought they were going on archaeological digs but were forced to be drug mules or worse. However, I figured the last couple of weeks had been shitty enough that I was due for something better. "Sure," I said. "Sounds great." The man held out his hand. "I'm Gus." I shook, using the special technique taught to me by Miss Jasmine, a drag queen I'd met at one of the first support groups I'd attended. Laurel and our friend Jane conspired to force me there. "See, honey," Jasmine had told me, "hands and feet, they'll always give you away. Me too. So when I shake, I offer just the tips of my fingers, and I turn my hand like this. For you, stick out your first finger, don't bend it." Her hands were huge. She always asked for drinks in outsized glasses, she told me, like the ones for margaritas or something. Jasmine had great tips, though she said there was no hope for my feet. And you know what they say, honey. The smaller the feet, the smaller the dick. True, in my case. At any rate, Gus crushed my fingers, Miss Jasmine's advice aside. "I'm Ron," I gasped. He led me out of the station to a white Ford F-150 with Bar T Ranch stamped in green on the door. I was really doing this. I was really out west, really in the midst of cowboys and ranches, that mythical land of masculinity. "Toss your packing back." I swung it over the side, slid into the passenger seat, and clipped my seat belt. Gus ignored his, turned the key, and gunned the motor. I wiped my palms against my jeans, wishing I could take out my yellow pad and enjoy the satisfaction of crossing off, "find a job." But somehow that didn't feel a very masculine thing to do. And masculine things, very masculine things, seemed crucial right now. I considered unbuckling my seatbelt. I considered belching, or maybe scratching somewhere mildly inappropriate. I tried to remember all the things my mother complained about my brothers doing or not doing, but I didn't want to think about my parents right now, so I stared out at the town's main street. Cody, was it? It hit me that I was in a truck with a man I didn't know, driving away from civilization. I should be scared. Okay, I was a bit. But as Gus maneuvered the truck past the plate glass windows of Murray's Western Wear and the old-time facade of the Irma Hotel, I just stared. This wasn't Harvard Square. This wasn't Boston. This was somewhere I had never been, never even really imagined beyond a few childhood storybooks. This was a place that had never imagined me either. And I was going to get a chance to escape my past, slip away from anyone who knew me, away from anyone who had ever heard the word transgender, get a chance to be me without all the jargon and explanation. It wasn't until we were through town, blowing by big box stores, that Gus started talking. "Where you from?" "New Hampshire." "In college?" "Yep." I smiled, hoping he wouldn't ask where. But of course he would. Everyone always does. "Whereabouts?" For a moment, I considered saying UNH. All I could think of was the old joke my freshman dorm proctor used to tell. It went like this. "Nosy person. So where do you go to school?" "Harvard student."